Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We take a look at your comments, your ideas, your suggestions, your thoughts, your inquiries, your concerns as a community of English speaking locals. And we connect all this information to better enjoy our life here in Puerto Vallarta. Again, as a community of English-speaking locals, Happy New Year. Today is January 2nd, and I figured this should be a good day for Luna. Luna, do you want to come here? Okay, we're going to have a little Luna sighting because it's New Year's, and this is a good way to start the year. Hang on. Come here, baby. Here she is. Luna, are you being blocked by the microphone? How do I do this? There you go. So Luna and I are starting the year with a bang. We are happy to be here. And I hope you had a wonderful New Year's Eve. We had a great New Year's Eve, Luna and I. We just stayed at home. We chilled. We watched a lot of television. And we crocheted a lot. Yes, I know I'm blocking your face with a microphone. That's not very nice. So, go back to your perch. Come on. There you go. So here we are. I hope you had a good one. I hope you had a safe one. Today we begin as usual with news. We're going to have a few news. We're going to have a little bit of a shit show. I was not anticipating one, but you know, somebody decided to take a dump in my front lawn. We need to address that. But before we do that, we are going to, as always, welcome everyone to the broadcast, our broadcast for English-speaking locals. If you're watching live for the first time, please feel free to write the word new in your comment. We'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. If you have something really important that you wish to share with the rest of us, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment or question, and we'll be happy to look for those when we get to the chit chat section. But first, let's tackle some news. Ay, Dios mío. Over 20,000 people gathered at Puerto Vallarta's Malecón to welcome the new year. Do you have any idea of how much urine and caca 20,000 people can generate when it's cold out there? I don't, but I can tell you this. Some residents in El Centro were totally not happy on January 1st because the streets stunk. I was reading this morning that some lady was very miffed when the city officials started installing porta potties in front of her house, and she says like, no, you're not putting one of those in front of my house because it's gonna stink and I'm staying here. So authorities threatened to arrest her. So then people from the Department of Culture went and visited and made very, very important promises that they would clean first thing on January 1st. Do you think that happened? No, of course it did not happen. So if you think you want to go and live in El Centro, close to where these celebrations take place, if you think you want to go and spend New Year's Eve at the Malecón, do it once just to get it out of your system, but then maybe don't do it again. Moving right along, since now there seem to be an increasing number of crocodiles along the Rio Quale, apparently crocodile sightings are becoming a thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but sooner or later, someone or something is going to be had for lunch, and people are not going to be happy. This happens in other rivers here in the Bay. You maybe don't hear about it because we usually don't report that kind of stuff, but there's probably about a dozen meals, happy meals, that crocodiles get to, whether it's small dogs or humans or arms or whatever. So if you are getting a kick out of looking for crocodiles in the river, just be careful while you do it, because we don't want anything bad to happen to you. And while we're talking about warnings, for the fourth day in a row, there is a red flag in all local beaches, at all local beaches, due to high waves. In the past 4 days, lifeguards have performed 6 rescues. 2 of those were of minors, and another one resulted in a casualty. So the lesson to be learned here is don't go swimming in the ocean when there are red flags. Don't ignore the red flags. Tell your friends and visitors not to go swimming in the ocean. Try a swimming pool instead. And we are so very grateful that Banderas News publishes the monthly PuRR Project newsletter. We're happy to replicate it here. We're happy to replicate any newsletter that any nonprofit shares, because it's a great, very efficient way to convey your wants and your needs as an organization. And of course, your news and your events. The PuRR Project, as you know, is a nonprofit, no-kill feline shelter just north of Puerto Vallarta that provides homeless cats and kittens with a temporary stay, with the ultimate goal of having them adopted out to loving homes, sterilized, vaccinated, and disease-free. As previously announced, President López Obrador inaugurated the second stretch of the Maya train this past December 31st. This is the stretch that goes from Cancún in the state of Quintana Roo to Palenque in Chiapas. The third and final stretch of the Maya train circuit is expected to begin operations during the first quarter of the year. And now, it's been a while, but I think we need to do one of these. Where is it? Where is it? Hold on just a second. It's under funny. I'm looking for my animation for the shit show, and I cannot find it. We have all the other ones. How curious. Okay, let's just have a shit show without animation. So bizarre. I just saw it this morning. And I like our animation. But I don't see where it went. So we are simply going to discuss something. And that something is this. It's been a while since I've lived in the United States, but I was there for 19 years. And it's been 22 years since I've been there. And, you know, I don't remember, and I've never been to Canada, and I don't remember ever while I was in the United States that anybody might share a warning about April Fool's Day, you know, like a public service announcement saying, you know, April Fool's Day is coming, you might get pranked. So we're just saying. It so happens that Mexico has something similar. On December the 28th, we celebrate Dia de los Inocentes, which is actually a religious, well, actually, on 28th of December, we published a little informational video. So we're going to roll that clip again just so that we're all on the same page.
The Feast of the Holy Innocents is a Christian feast in remembrance of the massacre of young children in Bethlehem by King Herod the Great in his attempt to kill the infant Jesus. Western churches observe the feast on December 28th. The early church regarded the slain children as the first martyrs, but it is uncertain when the day was first kept as a saint's day. The day is still a religious feast day and, in Roman Catholic countries, a day of merrymaking for children. In Mexico, the Dia de los Inocentes, as it is referred to in Spanish, Mexicans play jokes and pranks to trick friends and family members on December 28th, which is similar to April Fool's Day. The media also get involved by reporting news that is too ridiculous or funny to be true, all in good fun. So, if you believed anything that has been said in today's Coffee and Headlines broadcast, you've been biblically had. Tómala!
And that's what we said on December 28th. Of course, for those of us English-speaking locals, we know that there's this tradition. And of course, I laughed at some of the attempts that other news outlets put out there. And I was pranked. You know, our dear friend Luisa from Guadalajara had me believe that she was pregnant. And of course, I immediately started thinking, shit, I have to make a crochet something for the baby. And of course, later on, I realized she was pranking me for Dia de los Inocentes. It was all good. And here at Coffee and Headlines, I mean, our broadcast for Dia de los Inocentes is probably one of my favorite ones because I spend the whole year concocting ideas on what kind of clever pranks we're going to come up with. And I see that I have frozen again. How bizarre. I am unfrozen. Good. Anyhow, for Dia de los Inocentes this year, we decided to include this little news item saying that Costco was closing because they were adding a second story. And I thought it was funny. Many people thought it was funny. And some people were pranked. And some people sent me clips from Facebook groups saying, Costco is closing. What are we going to do? And I thought it was all funny. And I thought it was all good until somebody decided to take a dump in my front lawn. I read this comment on my Facebook page. A certain Kathy House from Canada says, this is not true about Costco. Shame on you. Shame on me? I don't even know this lady. And if you're watching, you don't even know me. Why would you direct your shame at me? And of course, being curious, I went looking for this gal. And she turned out to be a tourist. And of course, you know, every time we make an announcement, we always say that this is a program for English-speaking locals, not for tourists. Not because we dislike tourists. We're just not equipped to deal with tourists. We deal with English-speaking locals. So it's what we do. So when this lady decided to, you know, send this note to me, I figured, well, somebody's barked at me and I'm not going to bark back because it's not sporty. Oh, and then there was this other lady also from Canada that said, your Costco information is not correct. You might want to remove it and post a correction. So I'm not going to post a correction because I did nothing wrong. I was simply following a Mexican tradition. And all I'm going to say about this one is, you know, don't bring it out on me. If your sense of humor is inadequate or lacking because you were pranked, you know, go talk to your mood specialist, not to me. Or look for a mood specialist recommendation here at Coffee and Headlines. If you are ignorant of Mexico's traditions and you think you should have been briefed, then you need to talk to the Tourism Bureau. You need to talk to your travel agent. You need to talk to Mexico's tourism ministry. They cater to tourists. We don't. If you are lacking the intellectual insight or common sense to call the store first before you send your husband on a wild goose chase because you heard that Costco was closing, then I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. And if you apologize for not reading correctly, which this lovely lady from Canada did, well, that's an apology, but that's not the right one. If you cannot read correctly, you need to go see your eye doctor. You did throw words at me, and you did not apologize for that. If life crumbles before you because you are in a foreign country and Costco is closing down and you go panic shopping, then maybe take a good look at the mirror and ask yourself, what am I doing so far away from the comforts and safety of my home? And take the first plane to where you came from. Or better yet, ask yourself, how did I become this fearful? Or where did my sense of adventure and my sense of humor go? Or how did I allow myself to become this type of person? Now, you might be thinking, well, I'm a tourist here, but I am not that kind of person. I love to explore Mexico. I love to indulge on the little things. I love to explore the way Mexico lives, Mexico thinks, Mexico feels. Then you're really not a tourist in my book. You're a traveler, you're a voyager, and we love interacting with people like you. So, that's all I have to say. I just replayed our warning for Dia de los Inocentes, so you've been warned for the broadcast we are going to have on December 23rd, 28th of this year. We started jotting down ideas, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And now, let's take a look at the weather. And the weather tells us, let's see, every cloud has a silver lining except for mushroom-shaped ones. They have a lining of iridium and strontium 90. I have no idea what that means, but this must have something to do with pollution in the skies. What do I know? What I do know is that it is 23 degrees out there. Humidity is at 63%, and our weather forecast for today says mostly cloudy skies throughout the day with a high of 27, with a low of 18. Tomorrow, Wednesday, clear skies throughout the day, a high of 27 and a low of 16. Mostly cloudy skies in the morning on Thursday with rain in the afternoon, a high of 26 and a low of 16. And that's what we have to say. Let's see what else do we have, because we have another little bit here. Yes, this comes from the Mexico's National Anthropology and History Institute. They let us know what the most visited archaeological sites in the country were this past year. And the top place went to Chichen Itza in the state of Yucatan with 2,070,050 visitors. This was followed by Teotihuacan in the outskirts of Mexico City, which was visited by 1,637,369 visitors. And that's the Pyramid of the Sun we're looking at, by the way. And in third place came Tulum in Quintana Roo with 1,173,383 people. Now, if you're wondering where to go, that is a little closer to home. Right here in Jalisco, there is the circular pyramid located in the Huachimontones region. This is some 45 minutes away from Guadalajara, and this is something you may want to consider for your future exploration. Two more announcements before we look at your comments. First of all, our dear friend Gura Gabor continues to host her series of open mic events at Nacho Daddy. She has another one tonight. Oh no, Tuesday. Oh no, it's December 5. My bad. It's not tonight. She had one on a Tuesday before, but oh wait. No. Okay, let's start this together. Let's start this again. She does have one tonight. Tonight at 7 p.m. at Nacho Daddy. I was reading wrong I was reading the dates up here on the poster, but there's an actual accurate date down here. And last but not least, of course, we are wondering what Agustín Lara, Consuelo Velázquez, Armando Manzanero, José Alfredo Jiménez, and Juan Gabriel have in common. Well, they are 5 soulful storytellers. They are 5 traditional Mexican songwriters whose music has transcended their own voices, whose music is constantly being interpreted and recorded again and again by younger, newer artists. And we're going to explore their impact in our next music appreciation presentation. We had 25 music appreciation presentations last year. We're looking forward to the first one, which will take place, the first one of this year, which will take place on Thursday, January 11. And that brings us to our chit-chat section. Let's see what's on your mind. Lots of happy wishes for the new year. Lots of good mornings, which I very much appreciate. Pum 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 pum. Let's see. Pum 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 pum. I'm looking for cues. Here is a cue from Chris. Hello, Chris. Be water safe. The seas are angry. Spread the word to stay out of the ocean while the red flags are out. Yes, I said that myself, and this is really important, particularly if you're not a good swimmer. Let's see what else. No beach sitting at Barracuda. No beach. That must mean that the water is high. Let's see. There's a cue here. Is there a newsletter that announces cultural events in Guadalajara? I am aware of an opera company there, but I found it difficult to Google a calendar of event. That is a great question, Rita. There is not a specific newsletter that I'm aware of, but I can tell you what I do. Every Monday, I look at Ticketmaster, at the Philharmonic, of the Jalisco Philharmonic webpage, and on Facebook I follow Conjunto Santander, which is where a lot of the opera takes place, and I follow a bunch of cultural sites from Guadalajara on Facebook on a regular basis just to find stuff. If you would like me to put together a list of sources from Guadalajara, just write the word Guadalajara in your comment and I'll be happy to share the sources that I follow on a regular basis. There is not a common site or newsletter that puts out all the information in a single place that I'm aware of. If somebody is, please let us know. Let's see. Oh, John says, I'm at Barracudas now and they are setting up tables on the beach right now. That's wonderful. But again, one thing is sitting down by the ocean and another thing is going in for swimming. I see this doesn't have a cue. Not sure why you are submitting false information to hurt their businesses. I hope that doesn't have to do with my Dia de los Inocentes thing. If it has to do with that, I seriously doubt I have an impact on Costco's business. And if anything, it might have gotten better. Let's see. Yeah, that's the common sense. Thank you, Karen. I went to your synopsis, my show notes, in the page because there were no links there as to the news as per normal. I thought, what the fuck? Then realized that 28 is Dia de los Inocentes. We even put a disclaimer there. Now, why the lady from Canada didn't bother to click on the goddamn link, you know, that's a mystery to me. Oh, I stand corrected. According to Ronald, Costco is adding 3 floors, not 2. I mean, just... Some people are looking for a fight or have no sense of humor. You know, that's okay, Sherry. You know, there are great... No, I'm not talking to you. Every time I say Sherry's name, I wake up my Siri over here, but I'm not talking to you. The good news that is that, if you have no sense of humor or you're looking for a fight, there are great Facebook groups, Facebook pages, online places where you can rant and rave and be a bitch and display your lack of sense of humor. Coffee and Headlines happens to be not one of them. We are a nice, gentle, friendly, connecting project for English-speaking locals and travelers and voyagers. Diane says it was a good prank. Thank you very much. We try to come up with a new one, with a good ones. Maybe our prank for Costco next year should be that Costco store is disappearing, and instead Costco will simply levitate to the neighborhood of your choice. Maybe news have to be that stupid. For the cluster, does anyone know where the pierogi lady went? I have a question for the cluster. What is a pierogi lady? I don't even know what that is, but now I'm intrigued. Some people need to lighten up. Wow, get a sense of humor. Again, Chris, I was not going to bring this up, but when people start shitting on my front lawn, I have to speak up. Let's see. Oh, I see a bunch of people saying Guadalajara. Okay, I will add it to my to-do list, and I'll be happy to share my knowledge with you, as I always am. Jess says, funny how people look for strangers to take something personally. Maybe they're putting a Costco on the International Space Station. I am seriously concerned. I understand that Costco is a great store, but when people get so freaking crazy because Costco may be closing down, I mean, what if Puerto Vallarta didn't have a Costco? Maybe some of you that are Costco dependent wouldn't even want to come here, and you would make more room for the people that actually want to experience Mexico. Not a north of the border comfort. But what am I saying? Who am I to dictate that? Okay, have you ever heard of a two-story Costco? No, of course not. Think, people. That's what I thought, Andrea. Just a thought. I'm not talking about the shopping carts, but the big motherfrackers where you put refrigerators and stuff like that. Just imagine gliding that down a ramp from the second story to the main level. Stupid. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you very much, Evan. Pierogi are Eastern European empanadas. Well, that is great. Now I'm curious, and I wanted to know where that is. Wow. If anybody finds the pierogi lady, please let me know, because I've never had, that I know of, I've never had a Polish empanada before. And this brings us to the end of today's broadcast. Thank you very much for being who you are. Thank you very much for being curious about Mexico, for being English-speaking locals, for embracing your time here in our way of life, whether you're here for a day, a week, a month, 6 months, or the rest of your life. And for the rest of you, again, there are many sources of information for you. There are websites for tourists. There are other places where you may find more comfort feeling the way you feel about life in general. May you have a good time finding those places. And for the rest of us, have an awesome 2024.